Thank you so much, Sister Carol. As usual, great insights. Enlightenism is such a powerful philosophy for overcoming the pain in our lives. That the things we don't even want to think about. it's so much stuff happening in our lives we don't want to think about it. We want to run and hide from this pain. Yeah. Absolutely. And that great meditation that you just read said, I acknowledge at the end of the day, I am the greater power. I am greater than the illusions that I see before me. And folks, that's what we're asking all of you. You are the greater power. You believe it or not, you are the greater power. And as long as you can accept that about yourself, you can say, I am greater than the I that I created. And the illusions that I created, absolutely. Thanks a lot. Great meditation, great insight. I'm Brother Malcolm, folks. I'm Brother Malcolm. You just heard Sister Carol share some wonderful insights with us to get us started on a wonderful journey on the powers of the mind, on how to create a powerful mind. Enlightenism is the greater power. It's a paradigm shift in consciousness. My broadcast today is about the journey out of pain. Sister Carolyn and I alluded to this pain that we face earlier. But we really don't think about pain, folks, except when it explodes emotionally in our lives. And we become angry. We become powerless. Then the pain becomes noticeable. But pain comes from somewhere. It comes from what's in us. Not to cleanse us, but what is in us from others. We must find a way to stop being dependent on others. And this way is the Enlightenism way. So that you're not dependent on others. I know it sounds like it's a strange concept, strange belief. How can you live without being dependent on others? Well, you can. In order to create a new you, you must rely on some other information. And where's the information going to come from? It's going to come from a place in you that has power and clarity. The power and clarity that you were born with. We become powerless victims when we depend upon someone else to define who we are, to judge us, to criticize us. This applies to the entire world. All of us that are dependent on others. And it becomes generational pain that one generation passes on to the next. And you keep this cycle going. Well, Enlightenism is to break the cycle. To say to all of us that we have the opportunity to create a new way to think and live. But in order to do that, in order to make this creation, we've got to let go of our dependency. And that, folks, is the challenge. How do you let go of psychology, philosophy, and history, and all the things that you have become dependent on? You say, well, it's not possible. It's not possible to live without the information that you have or that you receive from others, because how are you going to communicate in the world? Well, there's a new way to communicate with the self. To spend some time in your mind, in your consciousness, to understand what it feels like to be free of someone else's beliefs and values. It can be an empty feeling. Say, well, I don't feel good about myself. I feel lost. And the loss comes from a very simple thing that I talked about yesterday. Now I'm going to reiterate it today briefly. The seeds that produce life contains within the seeds the expression of that life. All life on the planet, trees, flowers, humans, animals, come from seeds. But the seeds must be fertilized. They must exist in a fertilized consciousness in order for them to live. The medical people and the scientist people have talked about the sperms that come from the male. They say thousands of them swimming invisible toward an invisible egg. And it must reach the egg in order for it to fertilize. But the egg has to be healthy and the sperm has to be healthy. And we focus a lot on understanding. They teach it in medical schools, they teach it in biology classes, and so forth and so on. And that becomes the development of life itself. You start out as a little baby, you hold the little baby, the baby begins to grow, becomes an adult. It does not resemble at all the seed from which it came. But it is expressing exactly what the seed produced and created in every aspect. A human is not going to look like a lion or an elephant, and vice versa. Why? Different seeds. But what something is missing in our lives when we focus only on the physical, the body itself. There were two seeds. There's two seeds and two eggs that are both invisible. And they contain the pure consciousness of power and clarity that you're born with. And what happens is, the same thing happens with the form. You get infected with a virus. The virus is toxic illusions from others. And the more toxic illusions you place into your mind, into your consciousness, the less you know about power and clarity. So your power and clarity disappears, and now you believe you can get power and clarity from the people that are teaching you. So you begin to seek power and clarity from others. And then you realize over a period of time that this doesn't work. The process doesn't work. So the consciousness and the body, the form, are out of sync. They're out of sync. Because the focus has been on the form. You want to condition the form to perform certain tasks, to do certain things. And then you want to ignore the other part. That very powerful part where you have power and clarity. And as you know from the form, if you take a sperm and an egg and you fertilize it, if you leave it alone and let it develop the way it's intended to develop without any interruption, meaning that the mother doesn't go and start using drugs or alcohol. She doesn't get all wound up with a lot of anger and so forth. All of these things will disrupt the production of the seed. And you can see you have people that come out disabled and deformed. It's because there's something happening to interrupt the natural flow. And when something happens to interrupt the natural flow that you were born with the power and clarity, what happens? Victimization and powerlessness happen. That's what happens. Because now you have a new creator, and the new creator is pain. And from pain comes confusion, darkness, anger, racism, and all of the things that people focus on that are happening externally. Enlightenism is to focus on the power you were born with, but has been disrupted and distorted by others' beliefs, so that you can believe you're of a certain race and color, and then you become that which you believe. There is a way out of pain, and that's what our work, Sister Carol and I are working about, the Enlightenism journey out of pain. It's not a racial journey. It's not a racial journey. It's not something that you focus on illusion. It's about consciousness. It's about you freeing the mind of the pain that you have received from someone else. All of that history and all of the other information you learn from someone else, which has no relevance to you, except that you believe you need it in order to socialize. So you fill your mind up with a lot of evil information, and yet you still have pain, and you don't know how to get rid of the pain. You try all types of things to get rid of the pain. You try religion, you try praying, you try meditation, but the pain remains in your life. Because the source of the pain is coming from the tools that you're using to overcome the pain. You learned it from someone else. You didn't learn it from yourself. I talk about the consciousness of truth. The unconditioned consciousness within you. It remains untouched by the illusions and their power and the things that they do to trick us into believing that we are powerless. This power expresses itself only in self-discovery, where you are willing to cleanse the mind of others' beliefs and stop depending on the past. You do not live in the past until you travel in the past by depending upon someone else to teach you about what happened in the past. It's about people you don't know, and all of them are dead. Every single last person in the past is not physically here. So what does that tell you? It tells you that you need to find another way to live in the present moment. And the way to live in the present moment is to trust the power within you, to provide you with new insights from the power and clarity that comes from the consciousness of truth. Then you're able to live in the present moment. Not trying to go back and find out what you heard about somebody doing something. Because that only creates the pain in your life. Because most of the things that you read about in the past didn't come from your relatives. Meaning it didn't come from your bloodline. If you hung up on lineage, it didn't come from you. But more importantly, it doesn't relate to you what they did. Because they were also in a lot of pain, creating a lot of violence that's been going on for generations. People fighting to find a way to attach themselves to peace and clarity and power. And you want to have all of those attributes. But in order to have them, you have to be willing to let go. We have 4 principles. Well, we have 10 principles of the Enlightenism philosophy. But it's 4 of them that are very, very important. These 4 principles, and I'm showing you a copy of our little pamphlet that we sent out to people. That if you want to, you go to our website, www.nationalbyesociety.org, and you will send you these 10 principles. The first principle, I acknowledge that I am responsible for the current conditions in my life, which means I am responsible for the current pain in my life, whatever it is. And the second principle is that I acknowledge that the conditions in my life are caused by my beliefs and values. And where do your beliefs and values come from? Somewhere other than yourself. You did not create history. You did not create philosophy, psychology, sociology, and all of these other things. Theology. You didn't create any of those things. But you embodied and accepted those beliefs. All of us did. And the third principle is, I know, acknowledge that I have the power to change my beliefs and values. That's crucial. You can change the beliefs that you're using and depending on from others. But in order to do that, you have to acknowledge that in order for me to change my beliefs and values, I must first enter into self-discovery. Self-discovery, folks, is not something that you close your eyes and say, I'm in self-discovery. Self-discovery is a journey in the mind, in consciousness, where you're letting go of all of the things that has distorted your awareness of being the greater power. All the things that you have used from others to take away your power and clarity so you cannot see the world clearly. It's distorted. So whenever someone talks to you about politics, religion, history, you want to know more about it because you believe it contains something that will give you power and clarity. And that the more you know about it, the clearer you are about yourself. And you try this and see if it works. Just try it and see if it works for you. And then you realize that it doesn't. It doesn't work. You can read all of the books in the San Francisco Public Library and not remove one iota of the pain in your life. Why? Because what's causing the pain are the illusory beliefs from someone else that happened in the past. And we inherited their pain. They passed it on to us unknowingly. They believed they were passing on something of value. But they were passing on a virus, a virusy. I call the victim dependency virus. And it's in all of the information that we receive from others. When you rely on others to define your awareness of being, you will always be powerless. You'll never have power, nor clarity to see through the illusions, the distractions, the things that we believe in, the technology. All of these things are distractions so that you don't have to look at yourself and the pain in your life. A computer is not going to help you with your pain, neither is a cellular phone. None of those technologies are going to help you. And no, the so-called artificial information that people are promoting as something new. It's not anything new. It was using artificial information 40, 50 years ago. When they began to deal with the development of computers, and then you began to deal with the development of technology, it's all artificial. Meaning a human being is putting that information into a device that's retaining the information, and you can pull it up. But it all comes from a human being. If the human being's mind, which it is, infected with the virus, then the information is infected with the virus. And the virus is responsible for the pain. It's an epidemic, but it's a silent epidemic because it's not killing people physically. It's not dealing so much with the body except when it becomes too intense and then you get sick on an overload of the information. But by and large, you can live with the virus. But you must live as a victim. You must live without power. You must live being dependent upon someone else. You cannot live with clarity in an illusion. You cannot live with clarity in an illusion, folks. In order to live with clarity, you must achieve it for yourself. I'm Brother Malcolm. My work is Journey Out of Pain. The book that I am presenting to you today, Enlightenment, has great meditation, which you heard Sister Carolyn read from, but more importantly, it has something that can change how you think and live. It has the Enlightenism philosophy. Thank all of you for stopping by. Thank you, Sister Carolyn, for helping us along here today with those wonderful insights and information. I'm Brother Malcolm, folks. I'll see you back on this broadcast tomorrow. Have a great day, 12 p.m. Thank you so much.